Hi guys, so this is not my typical video by any means, so if this is not something you want to consume, that's fine, I'll see you in the next video. But for those who do want to listen, this video is about Latvia, my home country, LGBTQ plus rights, family, what that means for me and so many other Latvians, why I am likely not going to be able to have a life in Latvia in the foreseeable future, and why that is stupid and makes me sad and angry. I do have my tiny microphone in this video, even though it's quite a serious topic actually. I feel like I need even just this little bit of lightheartedness of my tiny microphone, because otherwise I am probably going to cry talking about it. Also, if I'm looking off camera a lot, it's because I have a script, otherwise I would not be able to get through this video and formulate my thoughts well. So sorry if I look too much off camera, I can't help it, I'm reading. There is currently a motion in Latvia to specify the definition of family within our constitution to be between a married man and woman. It is already defined in our constitution that marriage is a union between a man and a woman, but that is something slightly different that I will move on to a little bit later. The amendment to the definition of what a family is extremely harmful, not just to same-sex couples who already have such difficulties just living in Latvia, but to every other family that does not fall under this very, very narrow definition of family. It excludes same-sex couples, it excludes single parents, divorced parents, unmarried couples, basically every family that does not include a married man and a married woman. This definition is detrimental to a huge part of the population, even if you do not care that same-sex couples are losing even more rights than they already don't have in Latvia. It affects so many other people and other types of families. I also want to mention that the specification may also be contradictory to some EU laws and regulations which have forced Latvia to, for example, recognize same-sex marriages or unions from other countries in a limited capacity, even though you cannot get married in Latvia, as per the previously mentioned constitutional definition of marriage. Things like this make me ashamed of my own country, and that makes me miserable because I love Latvia. I have spent most of my life abroad, but Latvia will always be my home country. I have always been patriotic. I love our traditions, our history, our fight for freedom, our food, just the place itself, my family there. But the failure of Latvian politics is driving me away. I will always celebrate my Latvian background and visit the country and my family there and my friends there, but things like this are making me even more certain that I will likely not be able to live there, even though I would love to at some point return to Latvia and live there, even for just a couple of years. This failure of Latvian politics directly affects me because my family would not qualify under this definition of family, and my marriage would only be accepted because the EU would force Latvia to recognize it, and even so only in cases of residency rights or the freedom of movement. I don't want to get into the real specifics of the law and what it is trying to achieve and what it's trying to change, but essentially this all started because in our constitution the protections of a family were being discussed. It was sort of generally accepted that all families, including same-sex couple families, would be included under this law. So one of the political parties in Latvia filed a motion to essentially clarify that, a family is between a married man and woman, and it is currently going through all the processes to be passed. as of me filming this video, I don't believe it has, but it is moving through all the institutions and things that it has to be passed, and that makes me quite anxious, honestly. I'm going off script for a second, so let me get back onto what I actually wrote. So as I was saying, Latvia would not recognize my family and marriage as valid, and while it would be forced to in some very certain circumstances by the EU, I cannot get married there, I cannot adopt, I cannot be looked upon as just a person. I do not feel that I can exist as myself there. My girlfriend and I have been in a relationship for almost 5 years now. She is everything to me, and we intend to build a life together. And it breaks my heart that even though we can get married where I live, or her home country, or wherever else, my own country would not recognize our union and would not see us and our family as valid and real. So many people have said, well, why do you care that much? No one is prosecuting you for being in a same-sex relationship. You can still live together. Why is it so important to get married? Just leave our sanctity of marriage alone. Those type of stupid things. And well, the real answer is because of legal protections. While yes, I want to get married as a celebration of my love and our bond, in law, marriage is more than that. It means being able to see your partner in the hospital if something happens, being able to take care of legal things, tax benefits, being able to have children that are both ours, a lot of migration things between countries, especially since my girlfriend is not from the EU, healthcare, just the list goes on. It makes me ashamed that Latvia is the second worst place for LGBT people to live in Europe, right after Poland. It makes me ashamed that my own country is driving people away and then wondering why so many people emigrate from Latvia and don't return. They wonder why young people don't come back. Of course, that there are so many other reasons, not just because they're anti-LGBT, but that's not what this video is about, and for me, that is one of the main deterrents of returning. I haven't completely lost hope that Latvia may start taking a turn for the better, and I will fight where and how I can, but I can do only so much, and I have to be realistic and face the fact that my own country does not think that I am worthy, and I refuse to go back to a country that does not agree with my existence. I have to say, of course, that not everyone in Latvia agrees with this rhetoric, and I'm thankful that there are politicians and normal people in Latvia who are trying to fight this amendment, not just for LGBT people, but just, you know, other non-conventional families, and I am so happy that there is a political party that I voted for that is doing this as well, and I'm hoping that it makes a difference. And as I said, while not everybody agrees with this rhetoric, so many people do, and while I haven't felt directly in danger in Latvia so far, I have not felt safe being myself in my own country. It's why I was terrified to tell my own parents about my relationship, and I hid it for slightly over a year, badly, by the way, but I was scared. I didn't tell them in fear that because of how other Latvians think, and even comments my own father has made, that my own family would not accept me, much less my country. When my girlfriend came to visit Latvia, I did not feel like I could hold her hand walking down the street, in the fear that someone might say something, or worse, do something. The only anti-discrimination laws against LGBT people in Latvia is in the workplace. That fear is something that I will have to live with potentially my whole life. I do not want to live in fear in my own country. I don't want to live in fear anywhere, just for who I love. I'm lucky enough to currently live in one of the safest and best places in Europe for LGBT people, Luxembourg. I am privileged enough to be able to live somewhere a safe where I'm not discriminated against, where I don't have to worry about this, where I can exist as myself with who I love, and it doesn't matter. Others are not so lucky. And while Latvia is not the worst place in the world for LGBT people, it certainly is no walk in the park for the sake of those who cannot escape these outdated, discriminatory, unjust views and laws. I hope that Latvia and of course the rest of the world can move forward into an age where people don't have to justify their love and can simply be. I am hurting that my own country is so narrow-minded, but I'm glad that there are people fighting it, and I hope things can change. I'm not sure what exactly my goal with this video is. I guess to maybe spread awareness if you didn't know that this shit like this is still happening in the EU. Like, if I can change the mind of even one person, great. I mean, I doubt it. Maybe it inspires you to speak up and speak out about injustices you see in the world, no matter what that is or where. I just want to live my life. I just want to live my life like everybody else. I want to have the same rights as everybody else, and I do not think that is too much to ask.